Week 7 is here, guys. It is time for your matchup previews. I got Senior walking around in the background. He's been dying to hear these previews. So I'm going to give you guys what you want. Here we are. Let's start off with my matchup, or I guess that's what you call it. It's really a bye week. I play Steve, who has been the lowest scoring team in the league 3 out of the 6 weeks. He's never been the high scorer. He's a pretty easy matchup, and it's easy to see why. You see him picking up guys like Jamal Williams, trading for Shady McCoy, picking up Zach Zenner. By the way, all of these guys are no longer on his team. I would have actually been a little nervous to face Jamal Williams or Shady McCoy this week. I think both of them could have big games. Steve's 1-5. Look, it's no secret. He's going to be 1-6. And then after that, his schedule the rest of the way is John, Reese. So he'll be 1-8 at that point. 1-8, is that right? Yeah, that's right. And then he'll finally draw Brad, and he might be able to beat Brad, but probably not. So then after that, he gets right back to it with Tony Jr., Jason, Tony Sr. before playing Jared in the finale. This very well could be a 1-13 type of season for Steve. And we really gave him a pretty good team after the draft. So really terrible job of management. I don't really need to go into too much detail on this matchup. Steve's got horrible matchups. Melvin Gordon and Sony Michel are on just about every bust list you can find, but this moron's cutting startable running backs and just gifting them to Senior, which, by the way, we may have to look into the collusion aspect of this thing, because now it's been several years where Senior will just have garbage running backs and Steve's just gifting him RB2s left and right. So Steve's season's over. My bold prediction here, Dalvin Cook's going to outscore Sony and Melvin Gordon combined. Those two are going to absolutely bust. This is a team that's the lowest scoring team in the league, despite having the wide receiver 1 to this point. So that guy being on bye, Steve is just screwed with a capital S. I'm projecting about 50 points from him this week. And, of course, I'm going to march on to an easy W. Now, we're going to wing it here for these matchups moving forward. We got us Bell Ertz My Ears versus Follow the Buzzard. So Tony Jr. with, again, the dumbest and least creative team name in the history of fantasy against Jason, who's gone back to the Bray Wyatt thing. I'm kind of digging the Bray Wyatt thing. I'm a big fan of The Fiend. He's awesome. So we got Matt Ryan versus Jared Goff, and I can't believe somebody would start Jared Goff after how terrible he looked last week. In fact, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm probably throwing up in a bucket thinking about the money they paid to Jared Goff. But it is a good matchup. I do think he'll do well against Atlanta. Matt Ryan, of course, is going to shred the Rams. Kenny Golladay, terrible matchup with Minnesota. Julian Edelman in a tougher spot than you might think against the Jets. And Tyreek Hill has been historically shut down by the Broncos. Leonard Fournette's in a smash spot against the Bengals. He should absolutely smash them. Joe Mixon and Derrick Henry are, of course, huge pieces of trash, which is why I traded them away. Now, on Tony's side of things, he really doesn't have any running back depth whatsoever, so he's stuck playing 1B Denver running back Royce Freeman this week. That's ugly. Josh Jacobs is a terrible running back, and it's not a great matchup. Le'Veon Bell in a terrible matchup. My bold prediction in this one is that Joe Mixon is going to outscore Le'Veon Bell. Even with Darnold back, they're playing against the Patriots, and they're going to take Bell away. And the beat goes on for Bell. Just another bad week. Jason's going to win this game, guys. I hate to break it to you, Tony, but you don't have the firepower to compete with what Fournette's going to do this week. Jason gets the W. Now, Chubby Johnson versus John, who has not changed his team name in 2 years. We got Kirk Cousins is borderline unrosterable. But Joe has a couple guys like that. So, it's all good. Kerryon Johnson against the Vikings is an absolutely brutal matchup. The guy couldn't even get it done against the Packers' porous run D. Yuck, Joe. God, man, you should have traded that guy when you had the chance. Devonta Freeman is this close to cuttable. just this side of cuttable. I wouldn't give you any running back on my team, including Madison or Murray, for that pile of garbage. On John's side of things, he's got Deshaun Watson at Indy, should be a decent spot. I don't expect him to blow up for 30 points in that one, though. Love Julio Jones against the Rams. David Johnson ought to have a big one. He's back at practice. Really don't know what we're getting out of Aaron Jones at this point. And, of course, John's tight end situation is an absolute dumpster fire. Let's see. My bold prediction I'm going to give in this one, I'm going to give the Dallas kicker is going to be the highest scoring player on Joe's team this week. And that's by virtue of Joe's team's going to suck. So John gets the W. There you go. There's that matchup down in the books. It's over. Might as well not even watch the games. John's getting the W. Now, we have on to Cincinnati versus All Rise. Why is he All Rise? Because of Ito Smith? You're naming your team after a handcuff? What the hell is the matter with you, Jared? Good God. Now, we got Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson in a battle of the top two fantasy quarterbacks to this point in the year. Of course, Lamar Jackson's only up there because he got to obliterate the Dolphins and Cardinals the first 2 weeks. I really suspect Russell Wilson gets the edge on this battle. Nuke Hopkins ought to return to form, but so should Cooper Kupp. Steph Diggs and Larry Fitzgerald is another great matchup. Could go either way. This is a very tight matchup. I think the difference in this one is a returning Saquon Barkley playing at home against the Cardinals. My bold prediction, Ezekiel Elliott will score less than 10 fantasy points against the Eagles. And Ezekiel Elliott has been a solid running back this year, but he hasn't been the super stud that you thought you were getting. Saquon Barkley going to come in. He's ready to go. He's going to crush the Cardinals en route to Jared getting the W. Jared beats Reese. You heard it here. Don't even watch the game, Reese. You lost. It's over. Don't need to check the scores on the ship. You lost. Now, Legion of Zoom versus Big League Chew. So Brad is basically checked out at this point. He doesn't manage his team. He was a terrible addition to the league. That's basically what it is at this point because Brad's really not doing anything. He barely got his players in last week. And I'm hoping he watches this video. Brad, cut the shit, man. Manage your team. That's all we're asking. Yes, your team sucks. You had a terrible draft. You got to play it out, man. You can't not play players. You can't not be active. Do something. Just it takes 5 minutes a week. Set your lineup, check free agency. It takes 5 minutes. It's really not that big of a deal. So I don't see any chance of Brad winning the way he's running his team right now. Hopefully he gets it together before he plays Steve. Steve doesn't get a second win this year. Steve could easily be looking at 1-14. The only thing that's standing in his way is Brad. We got some good matchups here for Brad. Amari Cooper, if he plays against Philly, ought to be great. You got Todd Gurley is back, and he's playing the Falcons, but he's sitting on Brad's bench because he doesn't manage his team. Christian Kirk, great matchup with the Giants, just sitting on Brad's bench. On senior side of things, I suspect Mahomes is going to disappoint once again at Denver. It's not a good matchup. Mahomes is hobbled. I expect them to lean a little more on Shady McCoy. And I do expect Shady McCoy to do big things this week. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put out my bold prediction. Shady McCoy is the highest scoring running back in this matchup, period. He's going to be a top 5 running back this week in fantasy. Top 5. LaShawn McCoy, book it. Watch the game tonight. LaShawn McCoy is going to crush it en route to senior, getting the W against Brad, who is the other bye week team in this league. Basically, Steve and Brad, you got to commend Steve. At least he's still trying. At least he's not giving up. Even though he probably should, he's not giving up. He keeps trying. I have noticed, though, there is quite a bit less trash talk from Steve. You guys notice he's been pretty quiet. And maybe we need to put out an APB on him and see what's going on with him. But that's all I got for you guys. We're heading out on this cruise on Saturday. So I will see you guys for the matchup previews next Thursday.